UAH students?
Well, my policy will affect UAH student, particularly the making college affordable. I would go to add tuition tax credits as early as a senior year for high school students, so that would offset the expense of college. Right now, we know that college has been increasing nearly 150%, while the amount of money in the Pell Grant has remained stagnant, which forces students to have to get more student loans. So what I would do is I will urge our members of Congress or Congress to act to continue to reduce the interest rates on student loans and put more money into the Pell Grant so that college will be affordable for students here at UAH.
Mr. Sanford?
I'm 4.
You're 4. Who drew number 2?
Oh, I'm number 2.
Okay. Mr.
Okay.
Wright?
There's a couple of things. We need a trained workforce for BRAC. So we need to ensure that not just our 4-year, but 2-year and VOTEC are properly supported. I'm a big proponent of what Congressman Parker Griffith was trying to do, is get a 4-year teaching college here for medical school. I think if we can couple that with the Hudson Alpha Institute, the cancer research centers here, and what I think would be very good is a biomedical engineering degree here at UAH. We have one down at UAB, but I believe that we can make this another leg of our economy here. Thank you.
Mr. Richardson?
Let me first begin by thanking the American Marketing Association for hosting this event. I think it's a great thing to always have students engaged in the political process. And so I think this is a great thing that you guys are doing here. Also, let me just say in opening, many of you know that I'm a minister, and you know that I'm a professor and I do economic development. I think that this debate has come along at a very timely period in our state and our nation's history. We are facing one of the toughest economic times since the Great Depression. We have a huge deficit, we have huge trade imbalances, as well as we have a huge series of huge inflation, and not so much just inflation, but we have a rapidly increasing number of individuals who are without jobs. So these things come together to make a very deadly cocktail. In the midst of that, we have young people going to college, trying to get education so that they can enter the workforce. And so what I would do is to propose a plan whereby we could bring down the cost of education by using technology and using it to help us create innovation and cost savings in our education system. One of the ideas that I propose is the creation of an Alabama virtual university. This virtual university would allow students to take online classes when their local campus could not offer those courses. They could take those classes online at a local institution. This would save the institution money, enable schools to actually offer classes that students needed, as well as it would save the state money. And so I think this is some of the types of innovations and use of technology that we can employ to help us get through this period of proration and these tough economic times, while still keeping education vibrant in the state of Alabama.
Now, Mr. Sanford.
All right, my name is Paul Sanford. I'm a local businessman, native of Huntsville. Again, thanks for allowing us to come tonight and speak to the student body and the citizens here. One of the policies that I want to implement is a prior year budgeting for the legislature to base their budgets on. And the effect that that's going to have on the average student here at UAH in the long run could be very substantial, in the fact that we wouldn't have to experience proration like we're currently in due to the lack of responsibility in the governor and the legislature as a whole to offer up a reasonable balanced budget that the school systems and the universities could base their spending on. If we can get our fiscal house in order in Montgomery, then we can provide more incentives and more tools for the universities in order to keep their costs down in a manner that doesn't force the average student to have to borrow as much money as they do. Currently, we depend on a lot of money from the federal government in order to keep your tuition down. When we don't get that money from the federal government, then you see what we have over the past few years. We're increased in tuition by 5%, 7%, 8%, 12% in some universities, and if we can manage our money in an effective manner here within Alabama and not be so reliant on the national government, then we can actually have an impact at a student level that would be more positive and better felt. So you don't have to exit, a four-year university with, $20,000 to $30,000 to $40,000 of debt when you're just starting into your career.
Mrs. Hunter?
My name is Mary Scott Hunter. I am an attorney here in town. I'm a mother of three. I was in the military for many years as a JAG. Spent 5 years on active duty and the last 5 in the Guard and the Reserves. My husband, John Schultz, who's here tonight, and I own a small technology corporation called Toral Technology. John is a principal NASA engineer. We have a lot of tie-ins with the engineering community, which UAH do as well. Now I know from talking to, I did some homework here, and I know that not all of the students are engineering students. You have a broad variety of students, including liberal arts education. I think that the cost of education is problematic. We've definitely got to look at that. There's been a move afoot at times to, for the proration to be more heavily borne by the universities vice the K through 12. That's not something that I will support. I think that proration and budgetary crisis in the education system has to be evenly borne across the board and not disproportionately by university students. I looked at what was going to be important to you guys, and you guys need jobs. J-O-B-S, right? Jobs? Yes, I see you shaking your head. You need jobs. So how do you get jobs? How do you get your first job? Well, the science and engineering apprenticeship programs, like with AMRDAC, those guys employ 15,000 people in this town. 15,000 people. We need to strengthen programs like that, the co-op program, the GEMS program for our younger students. Look, there's a lot of jobs that are going to be coming to this town through the BRAC. The Missile Defense Agency is coming here, for example. They've just built a facility that's 850,000 square feet. We've got to connect you with these guys. I promise you, if you can get your first job, it all rolls from there, right guys? Remember how hard it was to get the first one? After that, you can work. I'm getting my timekeeper, so I'll stop.